blessings, oh blessings, oh blessings, oh blessings in here. Come on, let's get up and declare. Yeah, we can do it in here in the mighty name, who but Jesus in here. Yeah, another carpool ministry. Come on, it won't be long, but it's gonna be what? Impactful. Yeah, let's unpack this in here. Yeah, me and my daughter was in the car, right, on the way to school, and the conversation came up about the sad tragedy that happened with the gentleman, what he did to his family, and the topic of mental health came up, and social media, and what was causing all of this uprising of hate, evil, and violence, right? And there was a couple points I wanted to, chime in and share with the people, right? One of the things I have always noticed, right? I grew up in Queens, New York, South Jamaica, Queens, 148-88th Avenue. Shout out to all the good people that raised me, helped me. I was that kid growing up. My nickname was Richie Rich. I had it all, right? But some of the things that I liked was accountability, ownership, right? A father. As privileged as some saw me, others missed how deficiency I was in certain emotional, strengths, tools, things like that, due to not having the presence of a father, a male father, right? A male figure, a father, however you want to put it into words, right? But not to make any excuse for anything or anything that anybody is doing. One thing I realize in life is it really isn't so much that the world is caught up in wait a minute, y'all. It's less about the world being caught up in evil. And a lot of it is the world being caught up in self, right? The lack of accountability, the lack of ownership, the lack of honesty, right? Yeah, social media is playing a role. Yeah, it's exposing ultimately what's going on in all of our communities. The inner city, the urban, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It doesn't matter where you live. The uprising in heat, the uprising in evil, the uprising in concern for others. Alright, so with my daughter, we were talking, and I told her it's always been this. Growing up, I've seen violence my whole life. I've seen people killing, robbing, shooting people for street corners. So violence is something that has always been in my life, right? And reality is, I think what's happening there is an uptick on concern for the violence. We see so many young people, right, with no relationship with a higher power. Right? Even my children, we talk about this on the daily. I don't push my faith on them. I want their faith to be something that helps them, because when my voice about the faith disappears, I want their faith to be what sustains them, right? So we talk about things that, a lot of faith-filled parents wouldn't allow their kids to say, right? So me and my kids, we have open dialogue about Christ, about faith, about love, about action, right? And what I had to make my daughter aware of is it's not that church is going to stop these issues, because some churches can create even more issues, right? Right? Society has an issue, and society's issue is a lack of love, a lack of concern, a lack of compassion, a lack of patience, a lack of understanding for one another, a lack of forgiveness, a lack of mercy, a lack of grace. You see, we can all go down the list as to what's wrong, but I would say it's just a lack of God, a lack of a higher, right, power. The young, right? The young, they don't have faith because those that raising them don't have faith. And those that may have raised them have a lot of church, and they lack a lot of faith. So what happens is we know how to play church. We know how to talk church. We know how to look apart, but in reality, our communities are void of that role. The role of spiritual leadership and people that will speak to you, right, where you are, who will speak to your spirit in love, right? But will hold you accountability for what's not according in him. And yeah. See, we get caught up in these issues and pointing and blaming, but if we take a moment to take a look at self, right? You will quickly realize that it's not the social media that is influencing you, but your thoughts and your actions and what are you focused on here. If you're focused on, right, you, then a lot of the issues can just be selfishness. We don't have enough concern for others because we're so selfishly concerned with self. Yeah, social media will misguide. It will make you think that you are behind. Life is not according to others who are pretending, right, to look apart. But at the end of the day, pretending and being is not the same here. See, looking the part and being the part is the issue in here. See, those that look the part but lack the part, they're not able to be present. Not for their children. They're not able to be present for self or those that look to them near. So in reality, we are what? Sharing the evil and the disappointment and the selfishness and the self-righteousness. And we're not actually sharing the love of God. We're not sharing the grace of God. We're not sharing the mercy of God. We're not givers. You see, we all hear a lot of leaders talking about giving, but they're just talking about money. The reality is money is not the void of love, but love is the void of what? Truth. You see, money is just something you use. It's a tool. You see, money doesn't determine your love. Just because you're giving your money doesn't determine your love. That could be you are doing what you are accustomed to do, or you are doing what others, what? Taught you to do. But the reality, what you see happening in the world, there are people that are not able to adjust. You see people angry. You see an uptick on violence. You see an uptick on mental health. But what you do not see, an uptick on those that are able to help, presently helping, and less money is involved. Right? Because we only value money. And we only see givers as those that give that 10% that so many speak on Sunday in here. But it's bigger than that. You see, giving is all about love. And if you're not able to love, then what are you really giving in here? What are you really giving? Are you really giving it love? Is your action, is your life sustainable in love? Is it all about love, or is it all about you? Right? If you take a moment to look at that, if it's all about love, then you're not living in hate. You're not supporting racism. You're not stuck in division. You're not letting these isms fool you in here. See, I believe, yeah, you should be able to live how you choose to live, but just because you choose to live that doesn't mean that should be accepted for all of us here. See, I'm one of them praying for the husbands and the wives and the traditional family. Why? Because let's be real. We can't have a future if there's not a man and a woman. We cannot have a world if we're not men with women. I know that's not what we want to hear. But the reality is, if we keep force-feeding our desires, then what you quickly see is that there is no accountability. There is no ownership. Why? Because we have taught the youth to do what they want and then claim it as right. Because if you claim it as right, then who gonna tell you it's wrong? And in reality, what's happening in the world is wrong is now right, and right is still wrong. But if we get back to building a relationship with God, then we would quickly realize it's less about us and what we want or how we think it should be, but we're living according to the will of God, which is love, which is love, which is love, which is love. Built on truth, understanding, and here to give us the life. Which life? The life that we what? Expecting here. I'm expecting a life of love, yes, comfort for all, grace, mercy, forgiveness in here. But what happens when the world and the people of the world no longer is tied to truth. When we call what's right what we want, and if it's not in line with what we want, then it's hate and it's judgment. Look how we have confused everything with hate or discrimination in here. Look how some groups now, right, of a different culture, nationality, right, look how their personal choice is now connected to color issues of race. Come on, let's take a look at this here and start to fully unpack and understand what's fooling us here. See, society and the culture. Yeah, the loudest voice is what's winning in here. Even if that loudest voice is preaching evil, promoting destruction, because the end is near if we are not able to look at the facts. The facts still remain. If men and women don't have more kids, right? Because we can't all go to sperm banks and get people to have kids from, right? If men and women are no longer needed to have kids, then what kind of future does that look like for this world here? See, we're not speaking about personal choice and your relationship there, but we're speaking on why no one can be accountable, why no one can be honest, why no one can say, hey, I'm choosing to live this way, even if it's not right here. But instead you hear, hey, this is right. And if you're not for that, then you're not right. Even if you're speaking to those that need to hear what's right. Right here. In the current place where they question life, when things are not adding up, should I tell them to do what they want because God gives us all the free will to do what they want? So if they choose to violate others, right? Should I tell them, hey, that's what you desire to do, so go ahead and do it, and we all should take part in that there? No, we wouldn't do that, because we would realize that that is destruction. We would not promote evil or hate. Then why do we promote all of these things that we know are evil and they're leading to more hate, which is stopping us from growing and going into new heights? Why? Because there has to be a certain level of accountability. Just because you choose to do something does not mean that it's right for all here. That may be right for you. It may not be right for the world, right? You may want to pay evil for evil. But if we all play evil for evil, what would happen to, let's hear, what would happen if we all promoted our own individual evil desires on the world? If we all said, hey, I drink, so everybody should drink. Kids should drink. And if you don't drink, then you're going to be what? This is crazy, man. And if we all promote our own issues, then our own issues will become the children's norm here. Come on, let's take a look. This isn't about sexual preferences. This is bigger than those things here. This is about truth. And truth needs to be told no matter who wants to hear it and hear. Are you able to hear the truth? Which truth? The truth that doesn't sit well with you. Are you able to be honest? Honest about what's wrong with you? Are you honestly able to say, hey, just because we choose to do that does not mean we should promote that as what's right for all here. You see what's happening in America and probably across the world is we're promoting everything that we desire as everything everyone should desire, right? If I like chocolate, you should like chocolate, even if the chocolate is going to kill us here. If you like pork, I should eat pork. Why? Because the pork is what we've been eating in here, right? See, it's less about the issues of the past, and it's more about these issues that we won't deal with in here, right? And the number one issue that people won't deal with is self. Gluttony. What you want, and what that does to others in here. See, I'm not saying you shouldn't do what you want, but you have to be honest about your desires may not be what's good for the world, right? Because we all have desires, and not all of these desires should be things that we should be acting on here. There are things that you may want, but it's not good for you here, right? You may want sugar, but you're a diabetic. So should we all promote that you should eat all the sugar that you want? Should we start telling the diabetics, hey, God gave you this choice to do whatever you want. Go ahead and eat that sugar, and whatever happens, happens in here? Nah, we shouldn't promote that. But if that person chooses to eat the chocolate, we shouldn't condemn them. But we should be honest about the fact that, hey, that person is not doing what's right for all. That person is doing what they want for themselves, but they're not doing what's right for all. But what's happening in America is, whatever your thing is, that it's the thing now. We're going to promote that there. If you think about it, you see the smokers, right? The 420 community, they're promoting, so everybody should smoke. You got the alcoholic community, they're promoting, so everybody should drink. Cigarette community, every ism. Look, you can apply it to any group, and you will quickly realize people are looking for others, right, to band together that will support their desires. People are not banding together with people based off of what's good or what's bad anymore. People are actually basing what they connect to based off how it affects their desires, and their desires. And what's happening is, here, you see a group of people, right, strategically, right, tearing apart men. Then it makes you question, who is behind this narrative that is destroying the men? The narrative that men are not needed, that men are not useful, that men are not purposeful, that men are not enough. Then you start to see it in the black community, where the black men are not good enough. The father's no longer needed. Then you quickly realize, why is this world full of people doing everything they want to do? Because there is no accountability. There's no ownership. And in most homes, the father is the one that holds you accountable. Now we have promoted that father's voice is void. It lacks truth, and there's no need for it. So now you see, right, those that should look to the father sees the father as something that's not needed. Now we are creating a generation of children that see a father as something that's not needed. And now you see a young race of young women that think man is no longer needed in here. So then it starts to make you question, even in your lifestyle, are you actually able to have a child without a man? And the answer is going to surprise a lot of them. The answer is no. So just because you are orchestrating things to get what you want, that does not mean that you're actually doing what's right here. You may have been able to have a child. You may have orchestrated your own way. But you have to be honest about that, right? If we apply that same teaching and understanding to everything, right? Should I promote some of these things that these groups with these isms, right? And these groups, should we promote these things? Should we start telling people that no matter what, as long as you desire it, and as long as you have a community that tells you it's okay to desire it, that it's okay? You see, this is part of the issue. It's not one community that's destroying us, but the loudest community is destroying us, right? Think about it. Look at how we look at church. Look at how we look at religious leaders. Look at how we look at people that are holding us accountable. See, these people are people that we are condemning. These people couldn't be it, right? Because nobody in this wave of influence wants to be held accountable, right? This ministry is to help the children and the youth, right? But it has to start with you as the adult. If you lack responsibility, if you lack control, if you lack understanding, if you lack truth, your children will lack it too. And their voice will be a lot greater than yours here. You see, the Antichrist is in many forms. It's in many forms, but the question that you got to ask yourself, right? And this question that you should ask yourself is, my desires, right? The things I do and the things I promote, is it delaying growth or is it promoting growth? You see, these are things that we all should have to ask ourselves. Is my actions delaying the growth or is it promoting the growth? And what you'll quickly realize is most of what we're promoting is personal right? It's personal, but it lacks a personal accountability. Meaning in here, if whatever my issue is, right? Whatever it is I'm taking part in, right? If I know deep down in my heart that it's not okay, right? I shouldn't promote that on others. The problem at hand is everything is okay. Huh, Ryder? Huh? Everything is okay. See, I was talking about Jordan. We were having this conversation, y'all, because you know this carpool ministry is all about helping the youth. I dropped off already. She at school, and one of the things she said was that, why can't everybody do what they want? And I had to start breaking out situations. Well, what if the rapists wanted to rape? Would we tell the rapists go ahead and rape? What if the murderers wanted to kill? Would we say it's okay to kill? No, we wouldn't. It wouldn't even make sense. We would know logically that would not be okay. Then we should all ask ourselves, why are we all promoting narratives that we know is not okay? It may be okay for a personal choice, but we should not promoting that is an alternative to what's real. Because we can't actually talk about a future if we don't address that men and women should be together, because that's how you create a future. Men and men can't create. Women can't create. At some point, the woman and the woman is going to need the man. That's not hate to anybody. That's truth. And if we can't deal with truth, how are we going to start teaching our kids to be accountability, to have accountability, and take some type of ownership as to what's wrong in home, in community, in self? See, this isn't to take a shot at anybody, but we're all talking about the mental health and the individual that killed his whole family. I'm not one of them saying, hey, that's mental health, that's mental health. I'm one of them saying that's evil. I'm one of them saying he could have did different. Just because he may have been stressed, he did not have to do what he did. But what's happening in society, everything is justified. We have become so accustomed to take part in all of the senseless debates that we lack authority, accountability. We lack truth. We lack love. We lack vision. We lack a desire to get us out this mess here. But God said it's time. And here, despite what's lacking, the change is changing and the changes are happening, and the children are what? Waking up there. They're going to wake up and they're going to realize that we all need God. You see, we start realizing that that agenda is being pushed. The Antichrist agenda is being pushed by a group who can't use God to support a lifestyle. And when you guys actually start waking up, right? Black, white, wherever you are, it's senseless how the black women, right, in the black community are so at odds at the black men in this community. Then it makes you take a look. Which group is influencing that? All right? Then you start seeing these letters and all of these things, and you start realizing there's only one group that actually promotes the tearing down of the men. It's the same group that's actually motivating the tear down of the black men. It's the same group. Why? Because if we can divide and bring our community up, our community now will discriminate against them. I'm one of them that experiences it. Right? I have friends that have all persuasions, and I ask them this all the time. How come when I address a person of a different persuasion, if I say yes ma'am or yes sir, right? And clearly your appearance is a man or a woman, how am I supposed to know that you're not a man or a woman? And how do you get so hateful towards the person that doesn't know? Wouldn't it be more understanding to explain? But that's when I realized people are not looking for acceptance at all. They're looking to be right. They're looking to be in control. They're actually looking to promote their way and their agenda on you. See, it's not really about discrimination at all. It's not really about anything other than control. It's about distorted truth. See, you can do whatever you want, right? You can smoke every day, right? You can drink every day. You can steal every day. You can kill every day. You can do whatever you want every day. The problem here is when you're showing that to the youth, and that becomes what should be here. See, that's what's happening in America. We are dealing with what should be versus what we want. And what we want shouldn't come before what is. But we have been taught that every group has the right to do what they want. And we should start asking ourselves, what if everybody was gay? Who would have the kids? What if everybody was racist? Who would bring us together? What if everybody was selfish? Where would the giving come from? What if everybody was on weed? Where would the healthy people be? What if everybody smoked and drunk and fentanyl was the thing? Would that be what we promote here? You see, these are things. These are not things to call out anybody. We don't live that way. See, because we know we are sinners. I know I'm a sinner in need of God's grace every day. But I had to bring this conversation up because in the car with my daughter, I'm starting to realize the youth, they have a bigger problem with people holding them accountable than they do with themselves being accountable for where we are and where they are. Because where you are is just a product of where you chose to put yourself in here. So let's not get caught up. This is not hating on a group of people. This is not against the gays. This is not against the whoever. Everybody's going to take a offense in it, right? Because this word was a challenging word to force us all to change how we see, to change how we do, to change what we are promoting as right versus wrong. Because what you are starting to see in America through social media is all the wrongs being promoted as right. And no matter what it is that you're going through, you do what you want and it's going to be justified. It doesn't matter if it's sex, it doesn't matter if it's violence, it doesn't matter if it's just life. No one can do what they want to do without an action, without a consequence on another. And when we as people start realizing just because you choose to do something, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a consequence on the collective. So I say live in love. Instead of promoting your agenda on others, right? Even this, what I'm saying, is I'm not promoting this on you. I'm sharing a conversation with mine. Because there are people like me that understand somebody has to hold this thing together. What thing are we talking about? I'm talking about this thing called truth. This thing called love. If the sky is blue, the sky is blue. No more saying the sky is purple and technically it's yellow and it's all the spectrums, and no more doing that. At this point, we're going to own what we choose to do. Yeah, we're going to own what we choose to do. And when we start owning what we choose to do, the collective is going to have to own what they choose to be collectively connected to. Why? Because we're coming towards the end where the judgment will determine who you are. And that will determine what happens to those that come from you in here. See, this is not about attacking, because we all fall short. We all are sinners. Everyone in here is a sinner. Everyone in here sins. Everyone in here falls short. Everyone needs God. There's nobody perfect on earth. But this conversation is something that we should all take a good listen to. It's not about your sexual preference. I'm talking about anything you do. Whatever your desire is, if you speed, should everybody be allowed to speed? If you drive without a seatbelt, and we know that's only going to hurt you, should that be something that we promote on all? You see the narrative? You see where I'm going? Don't let your personal desires, right, be what poisons the next. Because that's your personal desire. That isn't God's will for all here. And the little people are looking to the adults, regardless to what their desires are here. So we got to make sure that we're honestly dealing with our desires, so that we know the difference between what God desires for us and what we desire for us. Because what we want from us is usually different than what God wants from us in here. So today I'm just saying, I'm challenging you to deal with you. Not them, not that agenda, not that group, not him, not me, not them, not none of that. I'm challenging you to look at you. Check you and your desires. Examine you, your ways, and what you're doing in here. And then ask yourself, is my walk and my action and my truth, does it look like the love of God here? Is it helping or hurting? And no one should be able to answer that but you. So be blessed and remember, I love you. I don't care about what you do. I'm too busy looking at all the wrongs I'm still trying to fix in me so that it doesn't bleed on my children, because this ministry is all about dealing with what needs to change in me so that doesn't change the future for mine and here. Oh yes, let's be blessed and let's remember, God is you we trust. God is you we surrender. In the end, this is love. I pray that they're able to hear this in love. See, this isn't to change. This isn't to change. But instead, to make one aware of what their actions is changing in those around them in here. Because your action does matter. Your example does too here. So today I say, surrender it there. All of those desires, yes, we all have desires. But we got to start being real. Just because we have those desires doesn't mean we should be acting on them. Even worse, promoting them as an option for what God created. Come on, this isn't an attack, this is love. Yeah, I know some ain't gonna like it, but that's part of life here. In the end, God gives, and we have to what? Be obedient. You see, because the first person the word should convict should be you. Right? Because there's a lot of desires in me that's not of God, that God is still currently trying to remove from me. So please hear that. Not in your emotions, not in deceptive attack to think that I'm attacking you or your lifestyle, but challenging you to see it. Could your desires be destroying the world too? What you're sharing on Facebook, could it be what is destroying those that are watching you? See, it's time for us to be real. Some can, some can't. This isn't to change your lifestyle, but this is just me documenting how I'm changing mine. Right? Because no matter what you do, doesn't apply to me. But these things that I'm doing is destroying me, my body, right? My future. Whoever you are, it's not about their desires. This is a conversation because all of our desires. Some of us desire to be in control. Some of us desire to have physical things. Some of us desire sexual. Some of us desire the dominance. Some of us desire whatever we desire. But the question today isn't about their desires. The question, are your desires destroying those that are watching you? It's just a quick question. And more importantly, remember, this message is about me, the one in the mirror. Not your desires. I'm talking about my desires. And these things that I need to deal with in me so that they don't kill those that come from me. Oh, y'all, let's be blessed in the mighty name. It's still all about Jesus here.